I can assure you I have never sought that title, and it was fine being the second wealthiest person in the world. That actually worked fine. I would much rather if they said like, inventor Jeff Bezos, or entrepreneur Jeff Bezos, or father Jeff Bezos. Those kinds of things are much more meaningful to me. And it's an output measure. If you look at the financial success of Amazon and the stock, I own 16% of Amazon, and Amazon's worth roughly $1 trillion. That means that what we have built over 20 years, we have built $840 billion of wealth for other people. And that's really from a financial point of view, that's what we've done. We've built $840 billion of wealth for other people. And that's great. That's how it should be. I believe so powerfully in the ability of entrepreneurial capitalism and free markets to solve so many of the world's problems. Not all of them. People are interested in trying to help the world in so many different ways. And it's all the things you would expect. Everything I've ever done has started small. Amazon started with a couple of people, and Blue Origin started with 5 people. And the budget at Blue Origin was very, very small. Now the budget at Blue Origin approaches $1 billion a year. And next year it'll be more than $1 billion. And so for me, I've seen small things get big, and it's part of this day one mentality. I like treating things as if they're small. Amazon, even though it is a large company, will wander a little bit too. So we have some very specific ideas of what we want to do, but I believe in the power of wandering. All of my best decisions in business and in life have been made with heart, intuition, guts, and analysis. When you can make a decision with analysis, you should do so, but it turns out in life that your most important decisions are always made with instinct, intuition, taste, heart. That is the secret sauce of Amazon, where there are several principles at Amazon, but the number one thing that has made us successful by far is obsessive, compulsive focus on the customer, as opposed to obsession over the competitor. And I talk so often to other CEOs and also founders and entrepreneurs, and I can tell that even though they're talking about customers, they're really focusing on competitors. And it is a huge advantage to any company if you can stay focused on your customer instead of your competitor. So then you have to identify who is your customer. I came across the fact, so this is 1994, nobody has heard of the internet. Very, very few people. It was used at that time mostly by scientists and physicists and things like that. We used it a little bit at D.E. Shaw for some things, but not much. And I came across the fact that the World Wide Web, was growing at something like 2,300% a year. This is in 1994, and anything growing that fast is, even if its baseline usage today is tiny, it's growing so fast, it's gonna be big. And so I looked at that and I was like, I should come up with a business idea on the internet and then let the internet grow around this, and we can keep working on it. And so I made a list of products that I might sell online, and I started force ranking them. And I picked books because books is super unusual in one respect, which is that there are more book items in the book category than there are items in any other category. There are 3 million different books active and in print around the world at any given time. So the founding idea of Amazon was to build universal selection of books. The biggest bookstores only had 150,000 titles. And so that's what I did. And I hired a small team, and we built the software. I moved to Seattle. I want to have minimized the number of regrets that I have in my life. And most of our regrets are acts of omission. They're things we didn't try. It's the path untraveled. Those are the things that haunt us. It's very interesting. So like many inventions inside of a team, and I love team inventing is my favorite thing. So I tap dance into the office. I love Amazon. I have so much fun there. I love Blue Origin. I love the Washington Post. But Amazon is my full-time job. And I get to invent. I get to live 2 to 3 years in the future. And most of the invention we do there is, if somebody has an idea and then other people improve the idea and other people come up with objections why it can never work, and then we solve those objections. And it's a very fun process. Time is very important to me. And so that's why I set my first meeting for 10 o'clock. I like to do my high IQ meetings before lunch. Like anything that's going to be really mentally challenging, that's a 10 o'clock meeting. And because by 5 p.m., I'm like, I can't think about that today. Let's try this again tomorrow at 10 a.m. And so then on sleep, I get 8 hours of sleep. I prioritize it. Unless I'm traveling in different time zones, sometimes it's impossible. I am very focused on it, and for me, I need 8 hours of sleep. I think better. I have more energy. My mood is better. All these things. And think about it. As a senior executive, what do you really get paid to do? As a senior executive, you get paid to make a small number of high-quality decisions. Your job is not to make thousands of decisions every day. Is that really worth it if the quality of those decisions might be lower because you're tired or grouchy or any number of things? Now, it's different if it's a startup company. I mean, you're really, when Amazon was 100 people, it's a different story, but Amazon's not a startup company, and all of our senior executives operate the same way I do. They work in the future, they live in the future. None of the people who report to me should really be focused on the current quarter. Right now, I'm working on a quarter that's going to reveal itself in 2021 sometime. And that's what you need to be doing. You need to be out sort of, 2 or 3 years in advance. And then why do I need to make 100 decisions a day? If I make like 3 good decisions a day, that's enough. And they should just be as high quality as I can make them. This is like the greatest piece of business luck in the history of business so far as I know. We faced no like-minded competition for 7 years. It's unbelievable. When I launched Amazon.com in 1995, Barnes & Noble launched BarnesandNoble.com in 1997. 2 years. That's very typical if you invent something new. We launched Kindle. Barnes & Noble launched Nook 2 years later. When you pioneer, if you're lucky, you get a 2-year head start. Nobody gets a 7-year head start. I love garage entrepreneurs. I invest in a lot of their companies. I know many of them. But nobody in their garage is going to build an all carbon fiber, fuel efficient Boeing 787. It's not going to happen. You need Boeing to do that. But this world would be really bad without Boeing and without Apple and without Samsung and so on. This is the most important work I'm doing, and I have great conviction about that. It's a simple argument. This is the best planet. We have now sent robotic probes to every planet in this solar system. Believe me, this is the good one. My friends who say they want to move to Mars, I say, look, do me a favor, move to the top of Mount Everest for a year first, because that's a garden paradise compared to Mars. And so this gem of a planet, we're finally, as a species, big enough to really impact it. And so, for thousands and thousands of years, Earth was really big and humanity was really small. That's not true anymore. And so we face a choice as we move forward. We're going to have to decide whether we want a civilization of stasis, which we could do. That's a legitimate choice. What does it mean? It means we will have to cap population. We will have to cap energy usage per capita. I wish there were 1 trillion humans in the solar system. Then there would be 1,000 Einsteins and 1,000 Mozarts. But we don't have that long. If you take current baseline global energy usage and compound it at just a few % a year for just a few hundred years, such is the power of compounding, you have to cover the entire surface of the Earth in solar cells. That is not going to happen. And so my role in that is I want to build reusable space vehicles. That's the heavy lifting. So for me, I start with mission. And I think, we have so far figured out 3 ways. If you have a mission, you can do it with government, you can do it with nonprofit, and you can do it with for-profit.